Speaking with us, Anand Ranganathan is with us, author, political commentator, and also a scientist himself. Has some very strong views on this entire reservation aspect. But before we go across to him, quickly, ladies and gentlemen, even as we talk about the court's judgment, there's something that's pending and it still lies with the government, tabled with the government. This is the Rohini Commission report on sub-categorization of OBCs that was submitted to the President last year, but the government is yet to make the report public and the findings of this report public. Now, reports suggest that the panel found that in some states, Muslims from certain occupational groups have OBC status while Hindus don't. The Rohini Commission decoded it was actually instituted on the 2nd of October 2017, led by Justice G. Rohini, ex-Delhi High Court Chief Justice. Four-member panel was to ensure more equitable distribution of quota benefits among OBCs. BJP-led NDA had proposed subcategorization in 2017. The commission set up thereafter. Commission was set up by the President, mandated under Article 340 of the Constitution. The report finally was submitted to President Draupadi Murmu on the 21st of July 2023 after 13 extensions. Rohini Commission's goals were to investigate the conditions of socially and educationally backward classes, propose steps for improvement of backward classes, had to examine the extent to which there was inequality in distribution of benefits within reservations, and work out a criteria by which subcategorization within OBCs can also be executed, can be done. Rohini Commission's findings were analysed in more than 130,000 government jobs and admissions to government education institutions that had OBC quota. 97% of the reserved jobs and seats to 25% of the OBC subcastes, and also 25% of reserved central jobs, institutional seats to only 10 OBC communities. 983 or 37% of the 2,600 communities under OBC category had zero representation in jobs and institutes. Only 2.68% reservation was used by 994 castes. Commission's first consultation paper was in December 2019, recommended breaking down of the subcategories into three bands: communities receiving no benefits 10%, those with partial benefits 10%, and those receiving maximum benefits at 7%. And the government sources have said that the Commission has found around 200 religiously restricted entries in the central list of OBCs where Hindus belonging to specific occupational communities were not given OBC status, unlike their Muslim counterparts. Dr. Ranganathan with us. So this entire reservation debate now out there with the Supreme Court judgment, the Rohini Commission with the President's office, be it OBCs, SC, STs, are we queuing ourselves up for a thorough reservation relook?
Good evening, Anand. The overarching question would be, would we have the guts to speak the truth and speak what needs to be spoken? But before that, I want to come to this, the judgment itself, because I think in my limited reading of the Supreme Court judgment, I think it's a good verdict, one that is logical and rational, simply because there is no one strata of underprivileged class. There is a gradation of it. Every person belonging to the SC, ST and availing the reservation is not socially and economically deprived at the same level. So it makes total sense to have a quota within quota so that benefits of reservation can go to the most underprivileged class amongst the SC, ST community. Also, the Supreme Court directive that there should be a creamy layer specified in the SC, ST quota as well is most welcome, because there was no creamy layer criteria. The benefits of reservations were not filtering through to the most deprived of our Dalit community. Hopefully, the Supreme Court will also look at how the reservations, the OBC quota is divided in the OBC quota. I talk here of the, as you said, in your primer Rohini Commission, that found 97% of the reserved jobs and seats go to only 25% of the OBC subcaste. And only 10 OBC communities have taken the 25% of reserved central jobs and institution area. That can't be right. 37% of communities under OBC category had zero representation in jobs. So we also need to put an end to the appeasement done by the politicians and political parties when it comes to dividing the OBC quota. Let me explain very briefly. Backward classes are grouped under category 1, most backward. Category 2A, relatively more backward. Category 2B, more backward. Category 3A, backward. And Category 3B, relatively backward. There are as many as 36 Muslim communities that get reservations under categories 1 and 2A. And in 1995, the Devagowda government gave 4% reservation to Muslims under 2B as well in Karnataka. It was only in 2023 that the BJP government under Mr. Bommai scrapped this 4% quota for Muslims under 2B. Matter is still pending before the Supreme Court, but that has stayed the BJP decision. And now the Congress has reinstated this very quota, saying that all Muslims can avail of this quota. Thing is, as the Backward Class Commission is now also protesting, why then are Muslims also placed under the other two categories?
Correct.
Please remember that the Supreme Court through a 9-judge bench judgment has fixed the upper limit of reservation to 50%, 15% for SC, 7.5% for ST and 27% for OBCs. This is separate from the 10% reservations quota for the economically weaker section. Yes, Muslim classes have previously also been included in the OBC quota, not only in Karnataka but in every state. But to say that every Muslim of Karnataka now belongs to backward class and can now avail of reservation is just bizarre and makes a mockery of the real purpose of why we have reservation in the first place. Finally, just 30 seconds. As far as reservations are concerned, Anand, beyond the hypocrisy of every political party, I have very briefly 2 points to make. Number one, as was reinforced by none other than the Chief Justice of India, Chief Justice or rather Justice Pardiwala, and also Prakash Ambedkar, the grandson of Dr. Ambedkar, that even Dr. Ambedkar wanted reservations for only a limited period of 10 to 30 years. Why do our present crop of politicians not have the guts to implement that? And finally, two, as I said, if giving reservations is a moral obligation, then why are reservations excluded from certain domains and sections? For example, the prominent among them being the judiciary. Why do the judges suddenly think of merit when it comes to appointing their own, but think of quotas when it comes to appointing doctors, scientists and other professionals? Is there not hypocrisy as well?
Well, you have asked a very fair question, and if there are reservations, let there be, but there should not be a compromise on merit. Compromising on merit is perhaps the biggest disservice that we can do to our nation. And also to those who are able and capable, because otherwise that allows the system itself to underperform. Unless the system is forced to perform by giving better education, access to better facilities, etc., this quotient of merit will not be upheld along with giving reservation based on caste and class. Thank you very much, Dr. Ranganathan. Please stay on with us. We got multiple stories to cover.